Stand in front of the Pantheon in Rome. Look up at that dome. It stretches 43 meters across, wider than any dome built in the 1,000 years before it. No steel. No reinforcement bars, no modern engineering, just concrete, and it has stood there untouched, unrepaired for nearly 900 years. Now walk back to your own street. Look at the cracks splitting through your sidewalk. Look at the fractures creeping along your garage foundation. That concrete, it was poured maybe 5 years ago. Here is the question that should bother you. How did a civilization without computers, without chemistry labs, without power tools build something that outlasts everything we create today? The answer was buried for 2,000 years. In 2023, scientists finally found it, and what they discovered changes everything we thought we knew about building. There is something strange about Roman concrete that no one could explain for centuries. It does not just resist damage. It heals itself. Every time water enters a crack in a Roman structure, something inside the material wakes up. A chemical reaction fires off. The crack fills in from the inside. The structure repairs itself not with human hands, but with its own chemistry. Scientists knew this was happening. They just could not figure out why. The recipe for Roman concrete. Everyone thought they already had it. They were wrong. One tiny detail in the mixing process had been misread for 200 years. And that single mistake is why your driveway cracks and why the Pantheon does not. To understand what the Romans got right, we first need to understand what went wrong after them. In 1824, a bricklayer in England named Joseph Aspdin patented a new binding material. He called it Portland cement, named after a type of limestone he admired for its color. Within a century, it became the most widely used building material on Earth. Bridges, skyscrapers, dams, foundations, airport runways, all of it held together by Portland cement, and all of it is failing. In early 2025, the American Society of Civil Engineers published their latest National Infrastructure Report. The overall grade for the United States infrastructure, a C, that is considered a historic improvement. The first report card in 1998 gave the country a D. More than 42,000 bridges across America are classified as structurally deficient. 168 million vehicle trips cross those bridges every single day. The estimated cost to fix American bridges alone is $191 billion. The average bridge was designed for a 50-year lifespan. Most of them are approaching or have already passed that limit. Contrast that with the Ponte Fabricio in Rome, built in 62 BC by a Roman road commissioner. It spans the Tiber River. It still carries pedestrian traffic today. Over 2,000 years old, no rebar, no Portland cement, still standing. So what are we missing? Here is the painful irony of modern concrete. We added steel to make it stronger. And that steel is what kills it. When moisture seeps into concrete, and it always does, eventually it reaches the steel reinforcement bars embedded inside. The steel begins to rust. And when steel rusts, it expands. It pushes outward with enormous pressure from the inside of the concrete. The material that was supposed to protect the steel ends up being torn apart by it. Every bridge you see with rust stains bleeding down its columns is living proof. The reinforcement becomes the destroyer. Roman concrete had no steel, and yet it outperforms everything we have built since. For decades, scientists thought they understood the Roman formula: volcanic ash, lime water, 3 ingredients. Researchers tried to recreate it. They failed every time. The concrete they produced cracked and aged just like Portland cement. It had the same ingredients but behaved completely differently. Something critical was missing, and nobody could see it. Professor Admir Masick is a materials scientist at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He had been studying Roman concrete samples for years, examining them at the microscopic level, and something kept catching his attention. Every time he looked at ancient Roman concrete under high-resolution imaging, he saw the same feature: tiny white chunks scattered throughout the material, bright millimeter-scale deposits of calcium carbonate. Scientists had a name for them: lime clasts. And for 200 years, every researcher who saw these white flecks reached the same conclusion. They were evidence of careless mixing, sloppy workmanship. The Romans, it was assumed, had simply not stirred their concrete well enough. Masick rejected this explanation. He later described his thinking: if the Romans spent centuries refining the greatest construction material in history, why would they be careless about something as basic as mixing? These lime clasts had to mean something. So he dug deeper. Working with researchers from Harvard and laboratories across Italy and Switzerland, Masick applied a technique called multiscale correlative chemical mapping. He used it on samples pulled from a 2,000-year-old city wall in Prevernum, Italy. What he found dismantled 2 centuries of assumptions. The lime clasts were not evidence of poor workmanship. They were deliberate. They were engineered. But even more importantly, they were made from a completely different type of lime than anyone had assumed. For 200 years, every historian and scientist believed the Romans used slaked lime that had already been mixed with water before entering the concrete. Slaked lime is safe, stable, and easy to handle. Every modern mason uses it. Even the great Roman architect Vitruvius seemed to describe this process in his ancient writings. But the chemical analysis of those ancient wall samples told a different story. The Romans were not using slaked lime. They were using quicklime raw, unreacted calcium oxide and mixing it directly into the dry volcanic ash before any water was introduced. This process is called hot mixing, and it changes everything. When quicklime comes into contact with water, it releases an enormous amount of heat. The internal temperature of the mixture can exceed 200 degrees Celsius. That heat is not just a side effect, it is the engine of the entire process. At those extreme temperatures, entirely new chemical compounds form calcium aluminosilicates that simply cannot exist at room temperature. It is not concrete with slightly different ingredients. It is a fundamentally different material at the molecular level. And the heat does something else too. It does not dissolve all the quicklime. Small pockets of reactive calcium survive trapped inside the hardening concrete like tiny dormant capsules. These are the lime clasts, not mistakes, not sloppiness, dormant repair kits, distributed throughout the entire structure. Here is how the self-healing works. A crack forms in the concrete, rainwater seeps in. The water reaches a lime clast. It dissolves the reactive calcium inside. A calcium-rich solution spreads along the crack, filling it from the inside. Then it recrystallizes as calcium carbonate, a strong mineral that bonds to both walls of the fracture. The crack seals shut, not with a patch, with new structural material. In some cases, the repaired zone becomes denser and stronger than the surrounding concrete because the healing reaction also fills in microscopic pores that were present from day one. Masick proved this in the laboratory. His team manufactured concrete using the hot mixing method. They deliberately introduced cracks. Then they pumped water through those cracks and measured what happened. Within 2 weeks, the cracks had completely sealed. Water flow dropped to 0. They ran the same test on conventional concrete made the modern way, with slaked lime. After 30 days, the cracks remained open. The water never stopped flowing, but there was still a doubt. One study, from one wall in one location. Critics asked, what if this was a local anomaly? What if only one builder used this method? Then archaeologists cracked open a time capsule in Pompeii, in the Regio X district. Excavators were working through a block of residential buildings. These buildings had been damaged by an earlier earthquake and were undergoing renovation when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. The volcanic ash buried the entire neighborhood under meters of debris in hours, and inside one particular house, it preserved something extraordinary, an active Roman construction site frozen in mid-task. Workers had stacked ceramic roof tiles neatly against one wall. Masonry tools lay exactly where they had been set down. Half-built walls stood beside finished ones, their mortar still fresh when the ash arrived. And on the ground, separated into distinct piles, were the raw materials the builders had been preparing to use. Professor Masick visited the site in early 2024. When he walked in and saw those material piles untouched since 79 AD, he was moved to tears. The volcanic ash had preserved not just the objects, but the moment itself. His team analyzed everything: the raw material piles, the half-finished walls, the completed sections. The findings, published in Nature Communications in December 2025, were decisive. The dry material piles showed quicklime premixed with volcanic ash exactly as the hot mixing theory predicted. This was not a local quirk. This was standard Roman practice. The analysis also revealed something even more remarkable. The volcanic ash itself was not a simple uniform material. It contained a diverse mix of reactive minerals, multiple types of volcanic glass, mineral fragments, pumice particles. These components react with lime at different rates. Some react within days. Others keep reacting for decades. Even centuries after the concrete has hardened, new mineral deposits keep forming inside it. Calcium ions from dissolving lime clasts diffuse outward, reacting with volcanic minerals, producing new crystalline structures and filling microscopic voids. This is why Roman concrete does not just endure time. It improves with time. The older it gets, in certain conditions, the stronger it becomes. Now consider this bitter irony. Portland cement production accounts for roughly 8% of global carbon dioxide emissions every year. We pump billions of tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere each year to produce a material that starts failing within a single human lifetime. The Romans built millennium-scale structures using materials they dug out of the ground beneath their feet. Now you understand why each ingredient matters. Here is how to put them together. Ingredient 1. Quicklime calcium oxide in its raw, unreacted state. This is the critical ingredient. It must go into the mix dry before any water is added. If you add water to the quicklime first, which is what every modern guide instructs, you convert it into slaked lime. Slaked lime is inert. It cannot generate the extreme heat. It cannot create the lime clasts. Without lime clasts, there is no self-healing. The concrete behaves exactly like modern Portland cement. Important safety note. Quicklime is highly caustic. It can cause serious chemical burns on skin and eyes. When it contacts water, the mixture heats up violently. Steam may rise from the surface. The Romans worked with this on open-air construction sites in summer heat. Use thick gloves, proper eye protection, and work in a well-ventilated space. Ingredient 2. Pozzolanic material volcanic ash or its modern equivalents. The Romans sourced theirs from the region around the Bay of Naples, a type of volcanic ash, so useful they named an entire material category after it. If you do not live near a volcano, modern alternatives work well. Metakaolin, a calcined clay available from ceramic suppliers, reliably reproduces the pozzolanic reaction. Ground pumice powder is another accessible option. The key property you need is high silica and alumina content minerals that will react with the calcium from the quicklime. Ingredient 3. Aggregate crushed stone, gravel, broken brick, or volcanic tuff. This provides the structural skeleton, the bulk, and compressive strength of the final material. The Romans varied their aggregate depending on the structure. Heavy travertine and tuff for foundations and lower walls. Lighter pumice for upper sections of the Pantheon dome, reducing weight exactly where it needed to be reduced. The sequence confirmed by both the 2023 MIT study and the 2025 Pompeii excavation is as follows. Step 1. Combine the quicklime and pozzolanic material dry. Mix them thoroughly before adding any water. This is the step that was hidden for 2,000 years. Step 2. Add water. Watch the mixture heat up. Steam may rise. This is the reaction that creates everything: the high-temperature compounds, the lime clasts, the self-healing architecture. Step 3. Work the mixture into your form while the reaction is still active. The ongoing chemical heat during this phase is what embeds reactive calcium throughout the concrete. Step 4. Allow the concrete to cure. Initial setting takes 1 to 2 weeks, but full strengthening takes months, years, even decades. This is not fast. Portland cement sets in hours. Roman concrete works on a longer timeline. The construction industry chose Portland cement because speed and low cost matter more than permanence in commercial building. For a skyscraper on a 6-month timeline, that is a rational trade-off. For a foundation you want your grandchildren to stand on, the calculation is completely different. The science is no longer in question. The 2023 MIT study proved the self-healing mechanism in the laboratory. The 2025 Pompeii excavation confirmed it archaeologically with a construction site frozen in time, its raw materials arranged exactly as the hot mixing theory predicted. Both studies peer-reviewed and published. Both confirmed. One more thought on Vitruvius, the great Roman architect whose writings shaped our understanding for centuries. He may not have been wrong after all. He mentioned latent heat during the mixing process, a detail that makes no sense with slaked lime, but fits perfectly with hot mixing. We read his words through the wrong lens. The answer was in the original text all along. Professor Masick has since founded a company to develop modern concrete inspired by the Roman formula. The goal is to translate these ancient principles into materials that can work within modern construction constraints. It will not replace Portland cement everywhere, not immediately, but for foundations, retaining walls, garden structures, and any project where permanence matters more than speed, no modern material comes close to what this formula can offer. The Pantheon has stood for 900 years without a single repair. The Ponte Fabricio still carries foot traffic across the Tiber after 21 centuries. More than 42,000 American bridges are rated structurally deficient, and the newest of them are younger than the average Roman aqueduct. We did not build past the Romans. We walked away from what they knew. We traded permanence for convenience. And now we are paying the bill in crumbling bridges, failing foundations, and trillions of dollars in deferred repairs. The Romans understood something that we forgot along the way. The best materials are not the ones that are fastest to make. They are the ones that keep getting better long after the last worker has gone home. 3 ingredients. 1 critical sequence, 2,000 years of proof. And now you have it.